Tonight, we delve into the abyss of human depravity, a place where innocence is extinguished and lives are reduced to mere statistics. We confront the chilling reality of Samuel Little, a man whose name is synonymous with unspeakable horror. This is not just a story of murder, it's a somber reflection on the vulnerabilities of the marginalized and the enduring quest for justice. As the world slumbers, a different kind of existence awakens. It's a realm of shadows, where predators stalk their prey and the vulnerable become targets. In the heart of Miami, Florida, a transgender black woman seeks solace in the anonymity of a bar, unaware that her life is about to be brutally cut short. Her encounter with a seemingly charming young man masks a sinister intent. This chance meeting, filled with fleeting smiles and superficial connection, is the prelude to a nightmare. The woman, full of dreams and aspirations, unknowingly steps into a trap from which there is no escape. Samuel Little, a name that evokes dread and revulsion, openly confessed to his heinous crimes. His words, devoid of remorse, paint a chilling portrait of a man consumed by an insatiable hunger for violence. He coldly described his first murder in 1971, a turning point that unleashed a torrent of bloodshed upon the unsuspecting. Little preyed on the vulnerable, those he deemed less dead, a chilling testament to his dehumanizing worldview. From 1971 to 2005, he traversed the United States, leaving a trail of shattered lives and unsolved mysteries. His estimated 93 victims represent a profound failure of society to protect its most vulnerable members. Born into poverty and neglect on June 7, 1940, in Reynolds, Georgia, Samuel Little's early life was a breeding ground for darkness. Abandoned by his mother and raised in unstable conditions, he witnessed the harsh realities of survival on the fringes of society. This tumultuous upbringing, marked by rejection and exposure to the darker aspects of human existence, laid the foundation for the monster he would become. His mother, a lady of the night, as he chillingly referred to her, struggled to make ends meet, leaving a lasting impression on the young Samuel. This fractured relationship, coupled with the absence of a stable paternal figure, contributed to his distorted perception of women and his descent into criminality. Little's path was paved with lawlessness from an early age. Expelled from school for poor grades and disruptive behavior, he gravitated towards petty crime, finding solace in breaking the rules. His early arrests for breaking and entering were mere precursors to the escalating violence that would define his later years. His criminal record, spanning decades and multiple states, reveals a pattern of escalating offenses. Assault, theft, DUIs, fraud, and armed robbery were just a few of the crimes that punctuated his life before he became a serial killer. Despite numerous encounters with law enforcement, his murderous tendencies remained undetected, allowing him to continue his reign of terror unchecked. Evaded justice for so long is a damning indictment of the criminal justice system. Despite his extensive criminal history and multiple arrests, he managed to slip through the cracks, leaving a trail of unsolved murders in his wake. This failure to connect the dots allowed him to continue preying on vulnerable women for decades. In 1982, he was arrested for the murder of Melinda Rose Larry, but a grand jury refused to indict him. This missed opportunity, along with the dismissal of witness testimonies in another murder case, allowed him to walk free and continue his killing spree. These failures highlight the systemic issues that allowed Little to operate with impunity. After decades of evading justice, Samuel Little's reign of terror finally came to an end in 2012. A seemingly minor narcotics charge led to a DNA test that linked him to 3 cold cases from the 1980s. This breakthrough opened the floodgates, connecting him to dozens of other murders across the country. The reopening of Melinda Lari's case and the relentless pursuit of justice by law enforcement finally brought Little to account for his heinous crimes. His arrest marked the beginning of the end for a man who had spent decades preying on the vulnerable and evading the consequences of his actions. In September 2014, Samuel Little was finally brought to trial for the murders of Linda Alford, Audrey Nelson Everett, and Guadalupe Duarte Apodaca. The prosecution presented overwhelming evidence, including DNA evidence and testimony from survivors who had narrowly escaped his clutches. The jury delivered a guilty verdict, sentencing him to life in prison without parole. Despite the conviction, Little remained defiant, refusing to admit his guilt. However, his imprisonment marked a significant victory for the victims and their families, who had waited decades for justice. It was a testament to the unwavering dedication of law enforcement and the enduring power of truth. Even behind bars, Samuel Little continued to haunt the world with his chilling confessions. In 2018, he began to reveal details about dozens of other murders, providing investigators with a horrifying glimpse into the scope of his depravity. His memory was disturbingly sharp, allowing him to recall details about his victims, their appearances, and the circumstances of their deaths. He confessed to murders in multiple states, providing details that only the killer could know. His confessions led to the identification of previously unknown victims and the closure of cold cases that had haunted families for decades. This macabre act of confession, driven by a twisted sense of pride, further cemented his place as one of the most prolific serial killers in American history. Adding another layer of horror to his crimes, Samuel Little sketched portraits of his victims from his prison cell. These haunting images, capturing the faces of the women he had murdered, were released by the FBI in an effort to identify them and solve cold cases. The sketches proved to be invaluable, helping to identify victims and bring closure to their families. The fact that Little could recall the faces of his victims with such detail is a chilling testament to his cold-blooded nature. These portraits, born from the mind of a monster, serve as a stark reminder of the human cost of his crimes and the enduring impact of his evil. Samuel Little's victims were often marginalized women, sex workers, runaways, and those struggling with addiction. They were the forgotten members of society, their disappearances often overlooked and their cases left unsolved. In his final years, Little, in a twisted act of redemption, gave them back their names and their stories. He provided details about their lives, their appearances, and the circumstances of their deaths, allowing their families to finally find closure. While justice came far too late for most of them, their stories were finally told, and their lives were finally acknowledged. This act of remembrance, however tainted by the source, served as a powerful reminder of the importance of valuing all human life, regardless of social status or circumstances. Samuel Little's legacy is one of unspeakable horror and profound societal failure. His crimes exposed the vulnerabilities of marginalized communities and the shortcomings of the criminal justice system. His story serves as a chilling reminder of the darkness that can lurk within the human heart and the importance of vigilance in protecting the vulnerable. The story of Samuel Little is a stark reminder that we must never forget the victims of violence, and that we must continue to fight for justice and equality for all. We must support organizations that work to protect vulnerable communities and advocate for reforms in the criminal justice system that will prevent future tragedies. In the sun-drenched streets of 1970s Miami, a predator began to stalk the shadows. Little, a drifter with a chameleon-like ability to blend into the background, found his hunting ground in the city's underbelly. His initial encounter with Mary Ann at the Pool Palace bar seemed innocuous, a chance meeting that quickly spiraled into a nightmare. Under the guise of a simple errand, Little lured Mary Ann into his car, a vehicle that would soon become a mobile tomb. On Highway 27, he extinguished her life with brutal efficiency, his hands tightening around her throat until silence reigned. Her body, discarded in the murky Everglades, became the first grim marker on a path of unimaginable cruelty. Little's victims were disproportionately black women, often marginalized and overlooked by society. He preyed on their vulnerabilities, exploiting their circumstances with chilling precision. His second victim in Florida, an unnamed woman he described with callous disdain, met her end in the woods near military property. Emily, a young prostitute with a University of Miami student ID, became another casualty of Little's rage. A fight erupted in his car, but her resistance was futile against his superior strength. Her body, concealed beneath a mattress in a garbage pile, became a symbol of the indifference that allowed Little to operate with impunity. 2 years later, Little encountered a 28-year-old black woman he had previously known through his girlfriend, Jean. Exploiting her marital troubles, he offered her a ride, a gesture that masked his sinister intentions. Her body, abandoned in the thick grass, became another forgotten statistic in the sprawling landscape of his crimes. In 1977 or 1978, a chance encounter with a chubby black woman at a bar led to another act of unspeakable violence. After driving her to the dark woods near the railroad tracks, he strangled her to death, keeping her underwear as a macabre trophy. Her body, left in the open wilderness, became a testament to the casual cruelty that defined his existence. Little's reign of terror extended beyond Florida, reaching into the heart of Arkansas. On a frigid, snowy day in North Little Rock, he met Ruth, a black woman who would soon become his next victim. After spending 3 days together, he strangled her and left her body near a cornfield, a stark contrast to the desolate beauty of the winter landscape. In 1987, Little's path led him to the sprawling metropolis of Los Angeles, where he continued his campaign of violence. In a drug dealer's house, he encountered a black woman wearing shorts, a chance encounter that sealed her fate. After purchasing drugs, he strangled her in an abandoned house, her struggle ending in a fall from a ledge. Later, in California, Little met another black woman at a motel, a crackhead he exploited with ruthless efficiency. He lured her into his car, strangled her, and disposed of her body near an iron pipe railing, hanging her lifeless corpse among the trees. Her death, like so many others, was a testament to the dehumanization that fueled his crimes. A teenage girl, barely 19 years old, became another victim of Little's insatiable hunger. He promised her drugs, a false promise that led her to the secluded Hollywood Hills. Her desperate fight for survival was no match for his trained fists. Her body, thrown down a steep hillside, became another forgotten casualty in the city of dreams. In 1992, Little's path crossed with a black woman wearing a religious turban, a chance encounter that ended in tragedy. He lured her into his car and drove to his residence before heading to Compton. During a riot, he smothered her to death, her final struggle masked by the chaos outside. Her body, left on a manicured lawn, became a symbol of the indifference that allowed Little to thrive. Despite his staggering body count, Little was only officially convicted for 8 murders, a stark reminder of the limitations of the justice system. These victims, whose cases were supported by DNA and witness testimonies, represented only a fraction of his total crimes. The true scope of his depravity remained hidden for decades, shrouded in silence and neglect. Little's personal life, a tapestry of deception and survival, offered little insight into the darkness that consumed him. His longtime girlfriend, Aurelia Dorsey, remained by his side, even helping him evade conviction in a 1972 robbery case. Their relationship, devoid of conventional love, thrived in the shadows of crime. Dorsey's death in 1988 left Little to continue his dark work alone, a solitary figure driven by an insatiable hunger. Even in death, he remained an enigma, his motives and motivations shrouded in mystery. His crimes, a chilling testament to the fragility of life and the devastating consequences of unchecked evil, continue to haunt the collective consciousness. After his death on December 30th, 2020, Little's crimes and confessions became the subject of books, interviews, and documentaries. Author Gillian Lauren spent countless hours with him, listening as he relived his horrors, sketching the faces of women whose names had long been forgotten. Her work, a testament to the power of investigative journalism, shed light on the failures of a system that allowed Little to keep killing for over 40 years. Lauren's work led to the Haunting Stars docuseries, confronting a serial killer, and her book, Behold the Monster, all of which peeled back the layers of Little's twisted existence. Through her efforts, the world saw not just the killer, but the victims he had so callously discarded. These women, often marginalized and overlooked, were finally given a voice, their stories echoing through the corridors of justice. In the end, Samuel Little died as he lived, in his own twisted world, painting the faces of the women he murdered. He never showed remorse, never feared justice. He saw himself as untouchable, a predator who played by his own rules. But history will remember him differently, not as a mastermind or a legend, but as a killer who thrived on society's indifference. His story is a harrowing reminder of the victims society often overlooks, the ones whose disappearances go unnoticed, whose names fade without justice. The question remains, how many more remain nameless, lost in the silence of his brutal legacy? Their stories, though untold, continue to haunt the collective consciousness, a testament to the enduring power of memory and the unyielding pursuit of justice. The story of Samuel Little is a stark reminder of the darkness that can lurk within the human heart and the devastating consequences of societal indifference. We must remember the victims, not as statistics, but as individuals whose lives were tragically cut short. Let their stories serve as a call to action, a reminder to remain vigilant, to challenge injustice, and to ensure that such horrors never happen again. Share this story to keep their memories alive. Support organizations that advocate for marginalized communities and demand accountability from the systems that failed them. Only through remembrance and action can we hope to prevent future tragedies and honor the lives that were so brutally taken.